This video is brought to you by my awesome Patreon supporters. To help support my work, keep my videos ad-free, and get rewards, follow the link in the description below. You can then select a tier depending on your budget, and every little bit helps. Thank you. So I'm trying to study different pro players, okay? Because I think that's fun. And it's go, that is wrong, that's funny. And so I was trying to just like learn new professionals because I remember I did a pro game series on Park Jung-won, I believe. And that went over pretty well. So I want to try to do it again. And I was looking up Sensei's library and all the pros, and I found Iyama Yuta. And the description for Iyama Yuta was pretty cool. Plays thickly, waits for the opponent to attack, and then tries to take the initiative with his counterattack. That is the bio for Iyama Yuta. And it's a very intriguing short one-sentencer bio for Iyama Yuta. So I just clicked on a random game. This one's actually quite recent. So Iyama Yuta versus Young Sing Sik. It was actually in the Samsung Cup. It was actually played 3 days ago, which is pretty cool. So we actually have a really cool typical modern game. So we get some hilarious things right from the start. So right away we have a symmetrical game. Dual 4/4s for both sides, which is really funny. With both of them basically just saying, invade my 3/3, I dare you. I know everyone's doing that. I'm not playing any 3/4s. I don't even care. You can invade me. Doesn't even matter. And so Yun Sung Sik basically was like, we're going to invade on the first move because it's a diagonal game. Moyos aren't as important. And AlphaGo happened, right? So Iyama's like, game on. And the cool thing that I've noticed about Iyama is he does not aggress. He's not usually the aggressor. He's usually he's a very reactive player. He'll do what the position demands. He doesn't try to push for one style over another style, right? So we see the normal variation that is meant to give white Sente. Like so. Now the idea being white should Tanuki from this, and then if black, takes this at some point later, then, whatever. It's not, Sente is worth more at this point in the game somewhere else than getting that Atari, right? So, this is great. This is great. So Yama's like, okay, bro. You want to invade 3/3s? We'll invade some 3/3s. We'll make it a party. It'll be an invasion party. So now we get actually a slightly different variation. To keep things not symmetrical, Yun Sung Sik decides to double Hane here. And the double Hane is actually interesting because obviously you don't want to do the normal thing that's, everyone does. And then give white Sente to do something that's clearly not going to be what black wants to do. So black basically is trying to force this exchange, which white takes him up on. Do you guys want sound? Do you guys care? Because the sound is off. Do you guys prefer the sound? Is it distracting? Let me know if you want the sound, and I'll try to put the sound on. So we get this Atari chain, and like this. So black gets a corner, pretty strong corner. White gets a Panuki on the outside, and the cool thing about this is that it sort of mitigates black building a large amount from any sort of Atari shenanigans on this stone. So it makes this a very, very, very uninteresting side. I don't quite know. I think I might need to reopen a game to make the sound go on. I don't think I'd have actually, I think it might actually, let's see. Yeah, I might just like reopen a game. File, preferences, sound. It does say sound enabled. That's kind of weird. Technology is not my friend tonight. That's really the main idea. This technology does not enjoy me. Anywho, so I do like this and how the Panuki sort of disrupts anything Black might want to do on this side, which is cool. And I mean, Black also just kind of forced it by playing that Hane there. So where does Iyama decide to play next? Well, it's sort of a basic idea, right? Corner, side, center. These two corners are completely unoccupied. So Yama's like, well, we're going to try to approach this way to try to maybe build off of our wall here. So Black decides to do a very large pincer, basically saying you don't get to build anything in this game. Yama's like, all right. Fine by me, bro. I'm just going to double approach. So Young decides to do the attach variation. This feels, I think, a little too passive. I think that's the idea is like this is a little bit too kind of passive. Like Black needs another move here, so it's not really Sente. And he kind of has a stick. So he decides to force this exchange. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a pro do the Kasumi. And so now White is going to defend. It's one stone, but this also preps for a really brutal Black does something else, a really brutal cut here. So Black actually plays this one to defend against the cut, which is really, really cool. And it also attacks and threatens to split the group up at the same time, which I really enjoy. Yuma decides to treat his stones lightly, focusing his eye on the prize, trying to connect his group up to the wall. Basically trying to make whatever Black is trying to do here useless, right? And fighting abounds. So we've got our Hane, we've got our cross cuts, and we've got our extend. So this game is like a very, very, very like fighting kind of game, which I feel like games sort of lend themselves to now in the era of AlphaGo, and all of these like heavy invasions everywhere. But keep in mind, it was never Iyama that was instigating any of the fighting, right? Like, if we take this all the way back, like, Iyama just wanted, you know, he was just like, hey, like, I'm just going to approach. Black's the one that pincered. Iyama's like, well, I guess I'll, you know, try to double pincer. And now I'm just going to try to make a base. The feeling that I get is Iyama's, like, not, he's like, all right, I'm just going to counterattack. Like, I'm going to see what you do and figure out how to, what I should do, and how to get around it, which I think is really cool. So we get that. Iyama's going to prioritize trying to connect with his 3 stones. He does make them look good. They really do. I mean, I think the reason is Black still needs another move to completely cut off these stones, right? There's still Aji in the position, right? Like, that's another thing if white wants to leave. But the Panuki here in Gote, I think would be very bad for black. Because now this is like a very strong shape. Sure, like, there's definitely Aji associated with these stones, so I wouldn't completely say they're dead just yet, but white gets just like a free move somewhere else. So I think a lot of these fights are over Sente, to be honest. Which is why we don't see black take the bait, right? Black is going to descend and keep trying to push the tension. White is going to just connect, which seems incredibly dangerous. And black does what anyone would expect them to do. And captures this white stone. Now, this is probably the most confusing. I was watching the sequence and I was confused. I was like, Iyama, what the actual crap? Your group is basically dead and undercut. Your wall is going to literally nowhere. And you let black in all your territory. What were you smoking? Like, what is this? What are you doing? But then I realized that it's a little bit Mii. Because I believe that this cut's still a thing. And I don't think black can make moves to kill this completely until this cut situation is sorted out. Say black tries to do this, white cuts. Now black needs to connect, defend, do something here to keep from dying, right? Now all of a sudden, these stones are cut off, and this is cut off, and black's entire shape is actually kind of destroyed, and even though white was originally looking like it was surrounded, this is brutal for black now. Like, he has two weak groups he has to defend. He's really not going to have time to attack this whole white group. He can't do this, right? Because then that just captures everything. So leaving the cut in the air and knowing exactly when you can leave something alone is actually really, really useful. What if black played c7? Great question. So I think black would do this. That's kind of threatening, right? So if black wants to keep everything dead, you would do this. Now there's still these issues. Black needs to live here. White can just move on out this way because black can't ever do this because that's an Atari. It gets into a very complicated fight, but I think no matter which way you slice it, the cut is going to split black's shape up into a stuff that just makes his outside position really, really, really bad. I'm probably not good enough to see exactly what's going on, but I think that's the general gist as to like why it's okay. I'm very impressed by it too. So sensing this disconnect and sensing these shape issues, black decides to defend here. And so the defenses that the pro moves make sort of give you an inkling as to like what they're scared of, right? And it's very clear that these connections are not solid and black can't attack until he's safe and able to attack. So white activates potential cuts. Black again is trying very hard to keep his outside position secure. White decides to start trying to make a little base for himself. Now it's very urgent. Now, like, this cut is very, very, very dangerous. Black decides to make a cut of his own. And we get a little bit of a run up this way. So now Black is like developing a lot of thickness here in exchange for a territory. And I think this cut's just kind of chilling in the air right now, because I don't think it's alive anymore. But it's kind of a and it's a little bit messy. So I think both players are just kind of leaving that for now. And Black is actually going to go after this really weird wall that Iyama decided to make. This is just such a weird game because you're just like, Iyama, what are you doing? This is like 6 points. This is going to be like 4 points. This thick, what even is this thickness? What is this? What is this? What actually is this? So we're going to see what this actually is. So Black attacks, White dodges. Black decides to push from that direction and White turns. Now we see that White's actually kind of threatening to capture these stones. Black decides to offer up a trade. It's like, I'll split your 4 stones up. If you can take that 1 stone if you want. I don't really care. White's like, I will capture this corner. No problem. And Black's like, all right, then we're agreed. I'll separate your 4 stones. You get to harass my corner. In Gote, by the way. So I still got Sente. So how does Black decide to make the Sente? And now keep in mind, it looks very dead, but you know how pros are. It can probably go to Ko or something if this is still left up in the air for Ko threats, right? Like that's why, Black's not trying to make forcing moves right away. So as of now, White has the corner. Basically, shapes in pro games are kind of like relationships in a soap opera. You never know what it's going to end up being. You only know where everybody is at right at this moment. Okay, she's with him right now. It's probably going to change in 5 minutes. That's basically what these pro game groups are. So as of now, White has the corner. So how does Black decides to use his Sente? Well, he's going to start building up the center again. He's not immediately going to attack White's group yet, because remember, this is White's burden. White's going to figure out like what he wants to do with this thing. So Black's just going to keep expanding his influence, so when White does try to do something with this thing, it's going to work out even worse. Also keep in mind, something happened. What just happened? The game was here. Oh no. Someone did something. The game was in front of my Twitch. Oh, Cornmonger, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Also, keep in mind, White's group is not alive yet here. Okay? So White has to still play there. Which is crazy. Literally crazy. But not only is this an alive move, it's also threatening to kill the Black group. So it's not completely Gote. Because if we consider that Black does something else here, we can very easily see this getting cut. Right? So this is actually kind of a rough shape. It's kind of a rough shape. And so as a result, black has to actually jet out, which is actually a double purpose move. He's defending his own stones and attacking white's 4 stones at the same time. So let's take some stock here. We have one unapproached or a lone corner of white's. This could literally be anything. White has about 6 points here, plus another 6, plus a corner. So this is like probably 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's like 17 points. It's like 17 plus 6 is like, what? 29 plus Comey, 36 and a half. But black has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Give or take 4 here, 16. And a ton of this thickness. This thickness ain't no joke. And a huge attack on this white group. So white's ahead on territory right now, but I am not comfortable with this. So now white decides to try to bring out these 4 stones, which is crazy. I would have entertained thoughts of like trying to take a big point or like enclosure, but I think the reasoning is like taken. Like white can't allow black to get like this entire mucho thing with all these 4 stones. Like I think that's just game over at that point. So yeah. So we're gonna see how white can sabaki. How does white sabaki in this game? Black is first going to take care of this nasty little cut. Keep this from happening. Because I think now he's realizing that if white does get this other corner, it's actually a little bit of a problem. And he might not think that he can attack this as effectively right now. So I think the idea is like, all right, we're not going to let this cut corner capture happen. And we're also going to be threatening to take away some major endgame later, right? White decides to keep the group secure because keep in mind, now that the cut is offline, right? This turn is Sente. That's huge. This turn is Sente, which means, because if white doesn't respond again, I mean, that's just GG, right? So I think the turn being Sente is too large for white to allow. So white's going to make sure that he is okay as well. So now white's going to get the first move. Trying to make white's group okay. We got a Hane. We got a double Hane. We got an Atari. Not that one. We got an Atari. We have a defense. And we have a defense to protect against this double Atari problem. So now it's white's move again. And even with this group this way, I would be so scared. I would be 150% all in on making this group safe. White's like, I'm just going to make sure that I'm alive here. Again, making sure that this turn is not Sente. Prepping for later. I'm not super worried. It's fine. Black's like, okay. This is fine. Please show me how this is fine, because I think that I'm making 6 points per stone here while attacking your group. So please do tell me how this is fine. White's like, I can still attack from here. I'm not just going to run away. I'm going to squeeze. I'm going to hug you. You want a hug? I'll give you a hug. Black gets pushed back. White continues to push on and no fear, which makes sense. I mean, if you think about the shapes, right? Black can't really do much because as soon as white cuts, black needs to fill this move in, otherwise it's an Atari, right? Black tries to run the stone out, then like rip, basically. So when you actually think about it, white's craziness is justified. So black is going to try to threaten to cut white into pieces. White's going to counter attach the Tsujis and the Sabaki in this living for Iyama is just incredible. Because you don't see anything amazing, like anything. It's just a bunch of bad options. Black can't really cut. Because that's an Atari. And it's not a snapback yet. Yeah, there's a pro game, Reckless. Iyama Yuta versus Yun Seong. Yun Seong Sun. Young Seong Sun. It's difficult to say. It looks like ludicrous, but it is a pro game. And these Sabakis are real. This is some intense, intense fighting. And then they do a typical thing that pros decide to do where they decide to leave this very important situation to play like some sort of Sente exchange elsewhere. Might be a time Tsuji, it might be a co-threat. I don't know why they did that. So now white decides to cut. Gradually starting to connect all of these stones. And just, it's so frustrating. Black can't do anything. Because that's Atari. It's like, it just barely doesn't work in every situation. So black's going to Atari the stone. White's going to leave. Black's going to leave. White's going to Hane. Black's going to Atari. White's going to defend. Black's going to use that to get an Atari on this stone, creating strength for his group so that he's getting a surround off of all these stones here. White's going to extend. Black's going to defend. White's going to make this little wedge Sente exchange, threatening to swallow up these black stones. Black is like, dear God, no. And then since white's pretty much connected all on out, white's just going to go moseying on over, threatening to swallow up these stones, threatening to bust into black's moyo in this way. Just super casually, like, this is fine. You had a 50 stone advantage on me in a giant wall, and I just had 4 stones with a Liberty shortage, but I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine here. Black pushes, leans for strength, getting more stones to try to keep attacking this white group. White gives this Sente exchange. Then just keeps moseying on out. Not concerned. Because at this point, white's pretty much out, right? Black decides to take those 2 white stones for himself. And white decides to take these 2 black stones, maybe try to get some territory, turn this into territory, lose territory up in the top. Black's going to extend. That's threatening a cut, and that's a real cut this time, so white's going to defend himself. And black needs to defend himself. White's going to take, making sure that this group is A-okay. Black's going to keep trying to reduce the eye shortage. Now, if black would have just done this and white would have done this, black could have done this and made that a false eye. But white's a professional. And white knows that that's an Atari on these 2 stones. So black actually has to defend there first. Then white does that. Is this a 2 players paint game? It might as well be. Black's going to try to make sure his group is alive. Because keep in mind, all of these things have like 50 different moves, right? Like, that's an Atari. And then that seals up the entire thing, right? So black needs to worry about that now. So black is going to do that, which is also a poke, which is good. White's going to defend. And black is going to make sure that white can seal off all of that territory in Sente for himself. Even at this stage of the game, they're keeping in mind on these very little small differences, which I think is really cool. A little bit more Ajiing. Oop, not that one. Got that one. White's going to defend. I can't tell if you're joking or you actually don't know about the game. It's called Go. It's a Japanese/Chinese board game. I can't actually tell if you're joking or serious. If you're trolling, that's hilarious. If you're joking, that's hilarious. If you're serious, just let me know and I'll explain it to you. Anyway. So black is going to take and white is going to solidify. Black's going to defend their group one more time, and now white gets the first free move all the way up over here. This is an insane game. It's a crazy, crazy game. So let's think about what happened. So white's position looked like he was on drugs. Black tried to attack a really weak white group of Iyama's. Iyama squeezed out, not only kind of ruined black's potential at a Moyo, but made black respond to keep white from getting territory up here and got the first big move on the right-hand side. Which is really weird. It's an insane game. So what is black's next move? Well, it's going to be fighting. At this point, black wants to kill something. Black's like, I am going to attack and kill this group of stones if it's the last thing that I do. Yeah. Yeah, the bottom right is not even being touched right now. Because it's all about the attacks. They're just attacking. Although, to be fair, this is a low-key threat. Right? Because think about this. The ladder does not work anymore. Yeah? This ladder don't work. This ladder doesn't work. That means that this thing can be cut off and killed. It's called Go. It's one of the oldest strategy games to ever exist. It makes zero sense if you don't know how to play it. But you should learn. It's really, really fun. We're going through a professional game right now, and I'm replaying the game and kind of explaining what it's all about. So basically, this would be really sad, excuse me, because, it's not connected to black's corner. It can be split. It would be struggling to make eyes. So I think the reason it's true. It's true. Professionals are something else, yeah. So all of these moves that they're playing have very severe attacking threats on the shapes and the groups that they're attacking, which I think is why no one has time to go back and defend or attack or protect this corner. Because this is another attack now that black has to worry about. White's going to hane. Black's going to hane. White's going to cut. Extend. And white is going to threaten to net / further break into black's territory. Black does his best to cut. White extends. Black extends. White extends this direction, so black doesn't get the ladder off. So now white's, threatening to swallow these stones, threatening to swallow this stone. Black's moyo's destroyed. And all of a sudden, you're left wondering if this is the only thing of territory black has. This plus this and whatever he can make of this, whereas white has potentially more, especially with this corner. It's crazy. I've been thinking about doing a stream where I do I try to play chess as a Go player and see how that works out. So anywho, all of these things are happening, right? And promise to so let's think about this. Black's attack failed. His moyo's being destroyed. He has to worry about this group now. He only has 10 points at this point in the game. And promise tomorrow. Okay, that's mean. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Chess is a fun game. You can get very deep in it. Let them be them. And we'll be us. And some people will be both. And it'll be great. So anyway, damn, did chess kill your, did chess pull a Batman and murder your family? What did chess ever do to you to make you so mad at it? It's just a fun little game. Jesus. Where was I? So black extends, white extends down. Black's going to Atari and white is going to, making sense, Atari. So black needs to try to work on these two. Black tries to make shape for his group because that's a problem now. Yeah, joke's on you. I don't read Go books. Now white's going to push further, kind of threatening the group, hoping that black will just push white into developing the corner all on its own. Black's going to extend. White's going to extend. Still putting pressure on this black group. Black, you can probably expect a response at this point. And black responds in kind. This is the game of the attachments. They are just freaking Lego brick attaching to each other. This is insane. And black's going to extend, threatening to cut white apart. white is going to squeeze, because God forbid white just does something like connecting like a normal person. That actually wouldn't be great, because then that's a Sente. And now, like, what is this group even doing? So white's actually going to try to do a squeeze. Nope. Black's going to pawn it. White's going to activate the move that they've had in the back pocket, which was threatening to capture these two white black stones, basically making everything useless. If black does this, white has this Atari again. And now black can activate this ladder and pretty much dead. That's a pretty dead black group. So obviously black can't let that happen. So black plays another attachment wedge, insane move on the inside. The skill of fighting this game is completely unbelievable. Now this stops white from doing what they wanted to do. Because that's Atari. And then that's basically a complete surround on this whole group. So at the expense of 3 stones, black would have gotten to kill everything. So even the slightest mistake here would have spelled disaster. Oh, black does the same thing that I was going to do, but in a slightly different order. White plays the Atari. Black defends, once again threatening to capture everything. White defends the shape. And what's even crazier is, like, black can't do this yet, because that's Atari. And then that just captures those 2 white stones. And black doesn't have enough liberties, because that's a self-Atari. So black can't actually even capture this yet, because of the way that these shapes are. Black needs to play this first. No, white's going to trigger the Atari. Black's going to try to make some Sente exchanges first, connecting up his groups, trying to cut white apart. White's going to dodge and defend this cut point. Black's going to defend the Hane there. White's going to try to connect its group all the way up to here. Keep in mind, this thing still only has 1 eye. Black is gonna try. It's kill or be killed, really. Can they both survive? Can they both survive? Seriously, these people are not human. This fighting is one of the most insane fightings I've ever seen. I can only just appreciate it. Obviously, that threatens, I think, something. I'm not sure what this could even do. Oh, it could do this. That threatens an eye. That threatens to capture. And I think that wins the Liberty capture race. Oh my god, this game is insane to try to piece together. I don't know if you're asking if I'm Russian. I'm not Russian. I'm American. So that whole craziness, threats decide to happen. Everyone just knows how to attack. I'm naming this game Someone Get This Man a Shield. Because these people really need some shield. All they're doing, they need a shield. I wonder why I thought I was Russian. LOL, she's not Russian. She's taking her time. I love it. That's funny. So black's going to trigger and threaten the Atari. White's going to take. Still only one eye. Black's going to wedge through here. Okay. This is the new level we're at. Wedge in through here. Threatening to freaking... surround this whole thing. And like co for life. Wait, seriously? That's super weird. My Twitter link sent me to a Russian site? Did Russians hack my Twitter? Did Russians hack my Twitter? It just says it's trying to go to twitter.com/Sente. That's my Twitter handle. I'm so confused. Well, let's take the link that it's supposed to go to. Try to put it in the browser. It works when I just type the link in. What? Super weird. Oh, okay. Anywho. Oh, maybe it's the website. My website, I removed my website because it stopped. It was not useful. So I'm going to remove this. There we go. Okay. Cool. Anywho. Yeah, it might have been the website because my URL got denied, or like I didn't redo the URL. I stream every Mondays and try to put out a video every week. So what am I doing with my life? Okay, we're trying to, okay. Okay, so black plays this incredible wedge, which is threatening to capture all the things. White's going to make sure that his group is alive. I have work. I do want to stream more. Maybe I'll increase the days in the future. So black's going to defend. White's going to try to wrap around. Black's going to threaten to cut. So now black is like pretty safe. Like that can't happen. That's Sente. So at this point, with this move, black has officially, undoubtedly connected his group to his corner group. Finally. So now white has to try to live with his other group. So black's going to keep attacking. White has been under attack like this entire freaking game. Black's going to keep trying to kill it, but I think white makes it alive locally. I think it might be alive in Co. Is this just dead? It's alive in... No, it's alive. No, that makes it dead. Yeah, I think it's alive in Co. No, it's not. Is this thing just dead? It can't really be, because they played this move. So black's gonna play that. And white's just gonna Tanuki. So is the new goal try to capture these? This is really to the point where I am so confused. I tried to look at this game beforehand, and it was too interesting to not show you guys. But oh my god, is it all kinds of confusing. It can't connect out. There's literally no way it can connect out. It appears that it's alive in double Co. And I think double Co is the only thing that can make this thing alive. So white's going to back off. Black's going to just rush in and invade the corner, which makes sense. White's going to try to split. We have the forcing separation sequence. So this sequence is awesome. So black has to Atari. White Ataris. Black has to take. White gets this move in for free. Whoop. And then white threatens to connect out under here. I barely comprehended too. So now it looks like white is foregoing trying to just live with this directly and instead trying to counterattack and kill this entire black group. And with one more move, white's basically alive in Co. Black's going to attach again. And white's going to keep this round going. Black's going to threaten to split. White's going to threaten to connect. Black is going to start the Co sequence. So it's still just a giant fight to try to capture this group, I believe. Because at this point, there's a liberty shortage on this group. So it's another kill or be killed Co fight. White gets the first move on the Co. And this is a huge Co. Because if white gets this, not only does white keep the corner, but the whole group that was alive, or that was dead, is not dead anymore. So let's review. This thing was dead. White decided to Tanuki, threatening to remove the eyes off this thing. Black decided to get a little bit greedy. White cut black off. Decided to split black. Black can't do this because it's just too few liberties, and it just makes a problem with the corner. And this thing still doesn't have any eyes. So now it's like a for all this being alive. So black tried to play here, but then white just surrounded. Now black has to start this to like be alive, or to kill white. So black only has this as a threat. That's his biggest one, threatening to take away white's corner that he had received for himself. And this is what I mean when I say the territories in pro games are like a badly written soap opera. You never know if they're actually real, or if they're going to stay that way, or if they're going to move to another relationship. But white decides to slam that down because that is huge. Because now this is alive. This thing is going to die. It's insane. Black takes and white takes. So black got the corner back. White might have captured this entire thing. Maybe. There's still Aji here. There is still Aji here. We can't even count this thing as dead yet. Black's going to try to capture the entire bottom in exchange. White's going to try to save what they can. That's a good one. They're both alive and dead at the same time. Black's going to start triggering the... I mean, this is Sente, because obviously you can't let black capture all these stones. White's going to Atari. That's a great question. It was the Samsung cup, so I don't know what the time settings are there. And just when you think, okay, fine, you know, black captured this, white's like, actually, if I may interject, my good man, I believe this is Co. And black's like, oh shit. Oh shit, it's actually Co. Oh shit. It's a weird liberty race capture race issue, because if white descends, okay, that actually just captures it outright. So white does actually just need to do this one. No, wait, is it Co? Maybe it's not Co. Oh, okay, I understand now. It would have been Co if black didn't play this move, but because black played this move, it's not Co anymore, and the white group is just dead now again, I believe. Okay, that makes sense. They did play my move, though. So white starts out with this move. Obviously prepping for the Co if black allows it. Black decides to instead take these 5 white stones. White Ataris. Black connects. White changes ideas a little bit and decides to threaten to take the corner. So black has to defend. This is like Sente endgame stage. Now white decides to try to do a bunch of things at once. This kind of reminds me of like a miniature divine move a little bit. Like think about like what it's doing, right? Like it's making points. It's threatening to bust this stone out. Making it harder for this group to escape. Doing a lot of things. It's doing a lot of things. Black finds the one move that would be able to get his stones to leave, which is the clamp. So white tries to do this, then black descends. Wait. Why doesn't white play this? It's a great question. Oh, I know why. Because there's a better move. There is a better move. There's this move. Now you might think, why is this move better? Because it gives black the Atari, right? Like, why would this move be in any shape of the word better than just, like, capturing these black stones? Because when white does this and black does this, the only thing black can do, keep in mind, because if white doesn't do anything, black gets this to run on out. And so now this might just turn into Seki. Nope, then black captures by 1 liberty. So if white lets that sequence happen, obviously black wins. If white goes this way, now white's lost all those stones. However, there's a move. This move. And it is this move that black finally decides to throw in the towel and resign. It stops this move from working. Because now white can play this way, and black can reconnect to its other brethren. And now, black can't play this to self-Atari and white just takes. So black can't actually do that thing that he wanted to do. It also, if white wanted to do this, well, white still can't actually do that. So yeah, that shape move basically stops black's shenanigans because it puts everything into a self-Atari liberty in the capturing race. Which means everything's dead. So it is at this move that black realizes there is in fact no hope. No hope for this black group. And black decides to resign. Holy crap. Holy crap. This was like, it's like those stereotypical fight scenes with like the 2 ninjas and they're like jumping all around, like fighting each other in blurs. That's literally what this thing is. The attacks were insane. The flow was insane. The fact that he came back from a position that looked like this. Hold on. The fact that this was the thickness that black got, and that white still not only managed to live, but basically rip away all of black's thickness as black was trying to attack Iyama. Like, I can't even handle that. Like, I just, that there's no universe where that should be allowed. And I think the moral of this story and it's not even like Black was trying to kill. Black was clearly trying to attack for profit. But Iyama's like, I'm not letting you get profit. You think that you can just get profit? No. No, bro. This is my house. You're in my house. But Iyama was never really the aggressor in any of this. It really felt like he was just getting attacked and just like scooching and sliding and counterattacking and whipping around. Yeah, the moral, yeah, we will all never be this good. But it's amazing to appreciate. And this proves Iyama can fight. Iyama is a really freaking good fighter. Okay, to be fair, so is Yoon Seong-suk. Okay, they both played really, really amazing moves. But like Iyama came out on top. So I think I'm going to call this game Get This Man a Shield. Because, goddamn, they need shields.